So for me, it's always good to hear that there are people out there who are actually taking practicality in what we say. Because this show can be very motivational, can be very good and soothing to the ears, but until you take action, like the many people I bump into, your life will not change. And I can tell you, most people probably think they were not born entrepreneurs, but I only say to people, it's just that you want to stay in your comfort zone. That's why you don't want to branch into entrepreneurship and self-empowerment, because you don't know.
I'll be getting into Heart to Heart with George Billionaire. Holla, holla.
Holla, holla. It's your boy, George Billionaire. And today, as always, we are with the amazing ladies in a different studio setup. And we're right in the heart of the city of Harare at Herald House, where we are live and direct. And it's amazing to be a part of this podcast for quite some time now. And this weekend, I was very much inspired myself. I met specific individuals who are always tuned on to the show, and they approached me and they said, we've been listening religiously to the Hustle Hard program. Every single Monday, we actually sit down as a group of men now. We have our lunch a little bit early to actually digest some of these nuggets that we could actually be paying for, but you are actually just giving them to us. And because of that, one specific individual saw me, ran up to me. I was at one of the shopping complexes, and he was with his friend, and he said, no, thank you so much. And in my hand, he put a note of money to say, yeah, and he gave me some money to say, no, thank you so much. I was just on my job. Sharing
is caring, George, because every Monday we are right here with together.
Let me finish. Let me finish. So, for me, I was touched by, the story he told me about how he started and how every single thing that we talk about on this show, he has applied, and it has now changed his life. He's no longer living where he used to. He's now not just waiting for his job. He is now working his last month where he is working so that he can give full time to his side hustle, which has now been paying him more than his salary combined. So now, after 6 months of running it, he's now deciding to leave ship and start. So for me, it's always good to hear that there are people out there who are actually taking practicality in what we say. Because this show can be very motivational, can be very good and soothing to the ears, but until you take action, like the many people I bump into, your life will not change. And this is what our core action mandate is that let us not just be hearers, because talk is very cheap. After this program is done, we all know the 48-hour rule I talk about here on the show all the time. After 48 hours of not applying yourself in what you have heard, your mind goes back to factory settings. You are back to the usual YOU, doing the same thing over and over again, and nothing happens. But if you take action, like the many people who have benefited from this amazing platform, many lives have been changed. Many people inbox me, they're asking for advice, they are growing. It's great to see that there are people's lives being transformed. And I think that's a big shout out to people who are out there, who are actually doing some impactful things. And I think for me, that's the greatest legacy. I am George Billionaire. I cannot be able to give everybody anything substantial into their hands. But I think what I can give, which is what I've been doing on this program, is to give what I have learned, what I have experienced, that at least if you apply that, I can guarantee you that there will be many of us at the top of the mountain who have benefited and their financial lives have changed. So I just thought I'd share that to people out there listening, that it's not always just about hearing, being motivated, feeling butterflies in your tummy. Wow, that was so inspirational. That is not the purpose of our show. Our show is to purposely and deliberately provoke, inspire, and equip you so that you can be a better version of yourself.
All right. So, technically, we had a great weekend, yeah?
And you want us to share?
Yes.
So we'll talk about that off air, and we will deal with that.
If you say we talk about it,
We will. But like I said, kwandiri wakona munhu anotomhanya kutokumisa. I was really touched. It's not everybody who will rush and say, "Wow, I always hear you, I follow you, I watch your videos. You've inspired me." Not just that, but I've actually applied what you've said, and look, this is what I'm doing. In fact, you know what? This is for you, just to say thank you. I was touched by that because it takes a lot for somebody to do that, to get outside themselves. It wasn't thought of. He wasn't thinking to see me, but it just shows that this show really is impacting many people's lives. And I think that's what we should really say. We're doing a great job here to give these people practical things to apply in their lives. So we'll share after the show. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so today we want to talk about the easiest side hustle. Right. I think you are one person who's spoken at every business event, and also you probably have a better knowledge when it comes to side hustles that people can do regardless of the economy and what it looks like. Right. So maybe we can start there. What are some of the side hustles that you think a regular Nomai Mpesha?
I think before that, I'd like to ask, from the journey that you mentioned, your journey and other people's journey that you talk about, you emphasize on the fact that it's not easy. So my question is, if it becomes easy, am I going to stay long in the game before we get into the side hustles in which they are?
Right. So there's nothing in life that's easy. If you see it easy, it means a lot of people can do it. This is why you'll find at the top of the mountain, there are not a lot of people, because people don't like the climb. But at the bottom of the mountain, that's where you have the masses. And there are many people at the bottom of the mountain because they don't like the process of going up the mountain. And that is it with entrepreneurship, or pursuing something that you want to actually do and become. I can tell you, most people probably think they were not born entrepreneurs, but I only say to people, it's just that you want to stay in your comfort zone. That's why you don't want to branch into entrepreneurship and self-empowerment, because you don't know, because you've never seen it, you've never experienced it. So you don't know what's on the other side, because you've never been there, but you've been here where people are clustered. Remember, we always love to use the example of chickens. Chickens stay, they are fed, they all grow to the same size, and they die average, right? But eagles have a different perception of life because they've been up there. So people will only become a sum total result of what they're exposed to. And this is why on this particular platform, we're trying to expose people to change their mindsets, to not be conformed to this world, to not be people who are at the bottom of the mountain, but to be people who actually aspire to go to the top. Now, that journey is difficult. People don't like to take the first step, the second, the third, because what a fifth step, you're going to start looking back and say, but at least I was getting money at the end of the month. But now, if you keep looking back and you lose focus of what's ahead, you will never know that at the 100th step, you're going to break and things are going to happen. So what people don't like is the uncomfortable part in the journey of entrepreneurship. They don't like to start because kune uncertainty, kune fear, kune what if it doesn't work, but everybody else is doing it. And unfortunately, there's no business under the sun that nobody has ever done. But it is how uniquely you sell it, you present it, you find a correct market, and then you will be able to make something. So to people who are wanting to start, as you asked about the side hustle, easiest side hustle, there's nothing called easiest side hustle. It's about identifying what can I bring into this economy that people can exchange money for my product or service. And you need to analyze yourself. You need to look at yourself. With the ladies in here, I know already every other weekend, you guys use your natural gift. It's not anything that's common, because holding the mic and presenting in front of 5,000 people is something that other people cannot do because they'll have stage fright, right? But when you do that, you are providing your service for somebody to give you money, right? There are so many things to do in this current day and age. I mean, if you look at Zimbabwe, I'm always inspired by the people who we see at the robots, the people who are pitching up things wherever. Kwandiri, that's creativity. It's somebody making a plan. And at the end of the day, whether they made 10, 20, 50, $100, they would have not made that had they not started. So when we list down the easiest side hustles, I can bet you my last dollar, most people, even if we list 100 businesses to start today, people will be like, ah, that's a great idea. But most people will actually not start because Mukati inside them is full of fear, doubt, other people's perceptions. It won't work, disbelief already. So that's why people most of the time will not make it. You know, my mom always used to say her favorite quote, "Kusiri kufande kupi," right? And this is the attitude that we need to have, because a gold miner starts digging the ground. He does not know what's underground. But the more he digs, every experience brings something. But when he hits the gold, he is totally different from somebody who actually never dug down. And that's it with people. So most people say, entrepreneurship is so hard. I was born to just remain on the job. And unfortunately, if you have that mindset, you will see others flying, becoming eagles, and you'll remain at the bottom of the mountain, not doing anything. So side hustles, there's so many. And I love to say, you know, those who sell tomatoes, you know, there's one thing people should understand. Business is this simple. It's about selling a product that you got from somewhere, putting a markup, and selling it to a prospective person, and you make a profit. That's that. You find people who buy tomatoes from the source and they sell them at $2 for a carton. They got it at probably $1 a carton, right? But they now bring it to a place where people need it, and they put in their markup and they make money. That's the same basic thing with business anywhere in the world. Totally. So you need to be able to say, what can I do? And it could be in your community. It could be wherever you are. It's not about us listing the number of things, but it's about, are you willing to say, wait a minute, I want to sell baby clothes. I want to sell men's suits. But how can I do it differently? And then you look at your social capital, which is one of the most important things. Can also not social capital, unita suits. Because if you look at suits, there are different prices. You know, there's a suit for $20, there's a suit for $500. It just depends who you're selling to and who is able to pay you. So people differ depending on the product or service they're offering, also dependent on their social capital and who they know.
I had a conversation with this business person this past week, and he said to me, if you start, let's say you have a table in one of these malls this year, right? And by the end of the year, you still have that same table, still selling the same quantity of stuff, no change whatsoever. You are not doing business. What's your take on that?
For me, thank God for this modern day and age where we have social media. We have so many various ways to sell products. I remember 15 years ago when you wanted to buy something, you physically had to get a form of transport to get into town. You'd know you need to go to George Silundiga and First and see that shop. Actually go see, there's 1, 2, 3 products in there. But now, if your business is not number one online, number one does not have a catalog, does not have videos, reels of you pushing your product, it means you are still back there using olden ways of doing business, which unfortunately will make you become totally irrelevant in no time at all. People now have understood, wait a minute, I can actually deliver these products, pay, and you can pay for the delivery to your house, to your office, to your business. Because now people understand, the convenience, right? You can dial, get food delivered to your house. There's nothing you cannot buy right now in Harare or any town in Zimbabwe that cannot be delivered to your doorstep. So if you still have a product, Yakamirama walk-in clients, I'm telling you, very soon you're going to be redundant. I have one of my mentees who's part of the GB mentorship who actually closed their shop in town and are actually now making a whole lot more selling from their home and now just delivering the same products because they saw that, wait a minute, if I just boost my social media presence, I'm getting people seeing and they're getting those things delivered and they're happy. So now I took cut a cost because that's exactly how the world makes money. If you see all the big platforms around the world, they are all online shops. So very soon you'll find all these people in town are actually going to now see, wait, overhead costs, my rentals are chewing a lot of my money. Why don't I actually decentralize and use the modern way of selling? So this is why most people then close ship, because they're not being creative. Get one social media influencer to come to your shop, say they sell this, that, and the other, and you'll be amazed. Your sales will skyrocket. So we need to continuously be very creative in seeing how we can make our product and service be relevant, because everybody is holding their handheld device. So if you're not selling to them on their handheld device, very soon they'll buy from somebody else who is visible and allowing people to see them from there.
All right. So when we talk of easy hustle, I think everybody who listens to Hustle Hard, they can finish the segment thinking, okay, I've got this, the Mutanga business, what. How do I separate myself from what everybody else is doing? Because we have this mentality, can imagine Miami, my blazer. You know, I might my blazer. I think they get my blazer 4-5 name data. How do we stop congesting our heads with ideas that are not for us?
I think each for his or her own, and we can do the exact same thing. Remember, I run an organization called ProAir, and ProAir is now 14 years. But before me, there were so many other air conditioning companies. So we can't say, because they are, in Harare alone, do you believe there are 300 plus air conditioning companies? We're all selling to the same people, right? But is it a reason to say, there are 300 others? So I even know Noma air conditioning and Precious air conditioning. But that should not hinder me, because everybody has what is called their own USP, unique selling proposition. And that's what differs. Because at ProAir, you get a 5-year warranty. It's done right the first time, no leaks, good backup service and warranty. Whereas with others, once they install, they are gone. There's no backup. They took your money. It's not done. Pipes leaking, etc. So what you then sell that comes with the additional benefits is what then makes people prefer you to the other. I say this all the time. Just now is lunchtime. People want to go. Imagine how many food outlets are there. But in your mind, you already know what you want for lunch, because it's tried, tested, it's consistent. You've never had any issues. That's why you continuously go there. So one thing we should do as entrepreneurs and business owners is to perfect our craft, so that you're not worried about what the other people are doing, but you're thinking, how better can I offer a more convenient service to the people who are coming to my business? I love the quote, an apple does not fall far from the tree, right? Imagine you having a hair salon, right? And the husband comes to leave the wife there, right? Why don't you also create a barber there? Correct? Now you're different. Instead of the husband looking for a place to go and get a haircut, whilst the madam is getting a hair done, you are also creating something not far off from already what you are doing. You get somebody, and guess what does that do? Now there's more money coming into your place. On top of that, now you're adding a massage therapist, a nail technician, and those are things that are not far from the tree. So as business owners, we shouldn't just, we sell hair, we do women's hair only. Because remember, money is there to be made, but it's only there to be made by people who are willing to adapt to the current trends. All the husbands leave their wives at that beauty store, correct? And therefore, they also want a haircut. They also want to get a pedicure. And then that will make you become unique, because everybody else is just focusing on the ladies. But what else can you do to make others stay longer in your shop, or have other services very close to already what you do? So that's what then makes you and me different from our products and services. We need to be able to do the little extra that makes us totally unique, so that people prefer us from the other.
Okay, so there are some people that grow up in families where the parents are just on their job. They have no business background whatsoever, right? So let's say someone like that is listening and they want to start a business, but they don't even know how to go about it. How do they tell if this is the business that can work for them?
Okay, well, brilliant question. And I've always said this, the one thing that you can tell about somebody who's going to become successful at a young age, they follow specific people who are successful. Now, of late, I've been running a quote on live saying that if you want to learn how to fly like an eagle, right, you must hang around eagles, right? So if you want to learn about a business to become successful, who are you following? Who are you pursuing? Because remember, when you are at school and you ask your schoolmates, do you think this business will work? According to their intellectual competence, they will tell you, no, so many people are doing it, it's never been done. But if you ask an eagle how to fly, or what do you think about this business, they can give you their perception of how they started, and how at first so many people, like myself, I love my dad, Nicodemus Munengo, I say this all the time, but my dad is the same person you're talking about, who remained on his job at City of Harare for 35 years. Pandakati baba ndada utanga entrepreneurship. Wakati aiwa gara kubasa hivi uri kutambira 300 wauda kutanga kuita zvinhu wakazviwana kupi. But that's because I had specific people who I saw, the legends in the country of Zimbabwe, who I saw, he sold his house, he sacrificed this, he sold his car, he really believed in this, and now they became great. So your parents being on the job is not a problem, but now your own life is your responsibility. If you follow Hustle Hard or the many successful entrepreneurs, if they have a business seminar, attend it. See, wait, pani high risk and there was a high reward. There was a lot of faith. He didn't even have anything when he started, but now he's a billionaire. Now he's one of the top sought out businessmen in the country. So when you pursue others who are wise, you too will become wise. But wakaramba uchitamba nevanhu vaya, and I keep saying this, remember, you only become the sum total result of your associates. So if you keep hanging around with low life people who are just on the job, who don't have any ambition to go on an aeroplane, travel, buy nice things, have a lovely life, and all of this, you are also going to become like them. And unfortunately, you'll be at the bottom of the mountain. In Shokoramari, the Bible says, Varombo, the poor, you shall always have. But I know to everybody listening, they are not going to be like those who are at the bottom of the mountain, because Ikoko is crowded. But at least at the top, the view at the top is absolutely amazing. And I wish people could come to the top. But it's not that journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Wakadona, don't give up, keep moving. Zikanwa for something, but majority will just have a long, biography of them after they are gone. They worked at this company for 40 years, and they were the best sweeper, cleaner, accountant, marketer, and that was that. But to those who want to leave a legacy for their children's children, and when we hear that verse, it's not a joke. To leave a legacy, your children's children will benefit. Right now, with your current salary, your children will not even see the next month with food on their table. But we must do something in this beautiful country of Zimbabwe, or wherever you're watching from the world, to start something, because problems are there. But you can also be the solution to those problems and actually make money off it. And this is what people should come to the essence of understanding and doing.
So I think in essence you're saying for those that want to start a business, it is important to learn in the early indlela ekuzokwaba phambili. I don't know what you kuti nzira inobvunzwa kune vari kumberi. That's like a direct translation. So that's what it means. So yeah, if you are listening and you want to start a business, Mr. George Billionaire said, be willing to learn from the people that have walked the journey. And in closing, Mr. George,
Do you know there's so many ways to make money in this current day and age? You know, social media is paying like crazy. Social media influencers, they are businesses right now who are looking for the likes of you who have followers. And imagine if you have great followers, they can actually approach you to say, we're launching this product. Can we tag off some of your followers? There are many ways. There's so many platforms across that you can make money from if you're making creative content. So in terms of making money now more than ever before, do you know how many billions of dollars of late have been paid to people around the world just by creating reality shows of yourselves, of you coming to work, of you doing what you do, and people come on. And now the TV we used to subscribe to, now people are watching more things on their phones than they actually do on the. So why not just be a provider of content rather than a consumer? Because just with your phone, your phone you're winning, the back camera is better than the front. Use the back one to take videos of yourself, and actually you'll be amazed at how much money you can make instead of just complaining, murmuring. So many hustles you can do, especially in this day and age. And that's my parting words. Let's not be complainers. Let's not blame anybody. But at mostly, we are responsible for where we end up.